Hey everyone, Dawn Zoldi here, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, and we have with us here today Dan O'Toole, the CEO and founder of Dronedek. And we're going to be talking today about how we can all follow Dronedek into the future of logistics. So Dan, welcome.
Thanks, Dawn. Hey, it's great to be here. Love the opportunity. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to learn more about Dronedek and your smart bot mailbox and how it's revolutionizing logistics and last mile deliveries. So I'm pretty sure that we have folks out there, and they can please drop your questions in the chat. We're going to be actively, commenting back. And Dan, I believe we have a really cool sizzle roll to reel to get everybody's mindset into the right place for this. Dan, I love that. Follow us into the future of logistics. And there is just so much to peel back from that video. But where I like to start is the problem statement. So what problem were you trying to solve when you created Dronedek?
Yeah. So we say protected, connected, secure. We're solving for a lot of problems, a lot of issues out there, right? One is every day there's 1.7 million packages stolen in the U.S. today. So if you get this whole industry of delivery happening through autonomy, you're going to have a whole industry of autonomous delivery theft, right? So
Holy shnikes, that's a crazy number.
It is crazy. It's, everybody thinks, hey, it didn't show up. I call Amazon, they just send me a new one. And guess what? We're all paying for that, right? That doesn't even touch misshipped items, right? How often does some office supplies or something show up at your office and nobody knows whose they are? Those things never get back to where they were supposed to go. So we're all paying for that too. So it's a big opportunity. We're going to change the world.
Wow. All right. Awesome. And I know you plan to change it in kind of three different ways, right? Three different aspects of the product. So we talked about protect, connect, and secure. So let's kind of walk through those a little bit. And let's start with how Dronedek protects these delivery items, whether it's traditional mail, drone delivery, food services like those autonomous ground vehicles that come up and deliver things, DoorDash, Uber Eats. How does it work, Dan?
Yeah, well, we first want to say that we're platform agnostic, which means we're welcoming to all shippers and deliverers. So we're consolidating all delivery to one secure point. That includes the robots, the unmanned driverless vehicles, the aerial drones, as well as conventional, the Amazon UPS guy, and the U.S. mail. So the notion of consolidating all those things to one platform is huge, right? Because nobody's going to have three drone decks in front of their home or business. There's only going to be one. So it's important that that functions with all your needs. So we're doing that. We've got our own API that we've developed, and we're sharing that with shippers and deliverers that are on our platform. And that gives them encrypted access to the drone deck platform. So when the drone pulls up or flies up, or a robot pulls up, it sends an API radio transmission to the drone deck. It authenticates that it's the right delivery mode with the right item to the right drone deck. Once that's approved, it opens up, allows access of that delivery. The camera on the delivering unit, whether it's a robot or an aerial drone, confirms delivery. It sends a message back. The doors close and secures the cargo. We turn around, send a notification to you, hey Dawn, your hot pizza's here, come get it. Or your new iPhone just arrived, whatever it is. You don't have to leave your office because your iPhone's sitting on your front porch and you're afraid some crook is going to beat you to it, right?
Yeah, or, to the point of protection, someone chucks my iPhone on the porch and it's raining out, or it's snowing. I mean, how many times, you didn't talk about this, but I imagine packages often get, damaged or even destroyed, the contents of them by weather alone. And so tell us about Drone Deck and how it actually like physically protects the contents.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a heated and cooled cargo area that can be turned on, activated from the vendor. So if Papa John's were delivering a pizza to you, we would allow them to turn on the heat in your drone deck. If you have pharmaceuticals being delivered by Walgreens, we would allow them to turn on the cooling. So that's one form of protection. We're also building to the standard of a weather station. So we're weatherproof, insulated to keep the product at the temperature it's supposed to be at. And we're trying to think of everything. We even have a heated door to remain operational in any climate. They're going to be deployed throughout the world. So we're thinking of everything that we can. And we'll have to add or adjust later if we missed something. But I think we're on a good pace here. We've got some good things happening.
Well, I feel like you've thought of everything, honestly. And I saw that heated door. I thought of, I was up in North Dakota, and it's, they say in the Air Force, they say, why not, my not, freezing's the reason. And I can imagine, if you didn't have a heated door, that it could freeze. I mean, people have to plug in their car batteries, right? So they start.
Totally.
So,
If the door, it all starts with the door opening, right? If we can't do
yeah.
that, everything else is off the books. So
Oh
it
my
starts with
gosh.
that. Yeah. So you try to think of all that. We have a really robust patent portfolio, 111 claims that we've either been awarded or have filed for. So things like that, that people just weren't thinking about, on the next generation mailbox that we did, and we've got that. That's in our patent, so we're proud of that.
I know you've got a lot of pet. We're going to talk about that here momentarily, but so we talked about protect. I want to talk about connect because you alluded to it. But how does Drone Deck connect to all of these different delivery systems? You mentioned API. Like, how does it actually work?
Yeah, we've got our own proprietary API that we've developed. It's when the drone or the manufacturing, or I'm sorry, the shipping mode comes in, whether it's a robot or a unmanned vehicle or a robot, it sends a proprietary signal to us, and we authenticate it. There's like an air traffic control or a delivery control, if you will, that's part of the backbone of the system. So we're making sure that we're not overloading a box. We're actually having a reservation for a certain delivery to come at a certain time. And that we're working with the logistics companies on that. So it's really a really cool behind the scenes system that is going to be seamless to you, the user, but behind the scenes, it's just as sophisticated as air traffic control for a passenger flight. And we're hooked up with Oracle. We've partnered with Oracle, Drone Deck powered by Oracle, which is cool. They're providing all the big data for opportunities for us, but also all the cloud computing. So everything's housed in the cloud, and we have worldwide access.
Wow, and I know this is GPS location enabled, all of those things you talk about, almost like air traffic control for mail,
Right.
whether it's coming from the air or not. So let's pivot to security. Security is always on people's minds. How do you provide that?
Security it's a need today, whether factor out the autonomy for a minute. The mailbox today is totally unsecured, right? What if we could bring a level of protection to the mailbox just on its own? So when your U.S. mailman drives up, what if he had a fob that was I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of when he gets in proximity, it would unlock the door. It could be activated through a fob, through his cell phone, anything like that. The mailbox would unlock when he approaches. He opens it up, drops the contents in, closes it behind him, and he never knew it was really locked or unlocked it because it all happened within proximity. So we can track all the openings and closing of a mailbox, the deposits. It's great reporting. If that mailman got terminated in the middle of his day, we could turn off his credentials and he could not get into his encrypted mailboxes. So, even things like that we're thinking about today. There's a need, going back to the 1.7 million items stolen every day, there's a need today for security, whether you're dealing with autonomous or conventional delivery. So we're really proud of that. We think that's one of our most basic and one of our biggest offerings.
Wow, I mean, you've clearly thought of every. I mean, you've even thought of, oh, what if the mailman gets fired in the middle of the day? I mean, like let's cut off his access right away. I love that. Hopefully, we're not getting a lot of mail people. I don't know what the right word is, fired lately, but especially around the holidays. But let's talk about the use cases, because we have, like you said, Uber Eats and regular U.S. Postal Service mail delivery, things like this. But let's talk about, what are some of the product use cases?
The medical pharmaceutical lab is a really low hanging fruit. High urgency. Providing better care, saving costs, all these kind of things, like hub and spoke type opportunities on medical campuses between labs, offices, hospitals. That's a really great use case. It's probably one of the early movers in the space. When you have emergencies, the room is full, people are waiting for samples, patient care, patient quality, all these things enter in. And there's frankly a lot of miles driven. We're dealing with a group in Indianapolis right now. They drive over 2 million miles a year with couriers delivering these. And there's a lot of scenarios where if you go as the crow flies, you can get something there in just minutes, where it might take up to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to drive it there around windy roads, up hills, across water, things like that. So it's better, faster, fresher, and cheaper. That's what we say about Dronedek. The opportunity, really everything we set out to do is really awesome and saving money, time, and all those things. But even the byproducts of the things that we're doing are creating big advantages, like taking vehicles off the road is a byproduct of what we're doing, which a domino falls there, then you've got less road repairs, then you have less accidents, less deaths, and it just continues on. So what if you could deliver something faster and charge less to do it? Wouldn't that be great? And that's kind of opportunities that we're opening up here.
Well, and the urban, the hard to reach urban communities that you're talking, or rural
Sure.
communities that you're talking about. What comes to mind is like the Choctaw Nation as an
Right.
example. The road systems on Native American reservations are awful. And I know that's something that the Choctaws specifically are looking to tackle, delivering food and medicine, especially to their aging population. To have something like a drone deck out there, that would secure, when that drone lands, it's not just landing in a backyard randomly, it's landing on something that's going to track, protect, right, secure all of it. I mean, I think that's really significant, Dan.
Thank you. It is.
Yeah. So, as a practical matter, whether I'm on the Choctaw Reservation or here in Colorado Springs at my house, if I bought a drone deck, as a practical matter, how do I actually use it?
First of all, you can't buy a drone deck. You can only subscribe to it, right? Much
Ah,
like it,
gotcha. There you
yeah.
go.
We know that it's an expensive unit, right? So a big impediment to just wholesale adaptation would be if everyone had to buy one. So we defeat that by offering it much like an Amazon Prime model. You pay X amount of dollars per month. That gets you your drone deck and your app. And so what we want to do is we want to roll out very strategically, very methodically. We want to target zip codes based on three metrics. One is a willing municipality, a demographically rich user base, and then the accompanying delivery infrastructure. So when you have all three things marrying up, that's a zip code that we want to work in. So we want to go in and we want to saturate the zip code. We don't want to focus really on one area over another because 91% of all deliveries are 5 pounds or less. So that's right in the sweet spot for autonomous delivery to a drone deck. So why not just take advantage of that economy of scale by saturating, blanketing that whole zip code, and then you can use you can deliver interchangeably to all different use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this picture here is someone using an app. I think you might have mentioned it briefly before, but how easy is it for me? So if I subscribe, I don't buy the drone deck, and I'm in my house. What am I doing here? That's me.
Yep, it's really intuitive. I wanted to build something to the level that I could use. So just wanted, I don't want people spending tons of time trying to figure it out, right? Pick it up and realize very quickly what you want to do. So you really, you would just pick your provider of what you want to order. You would order right on there. You're going to be able to favorite purchases so you can have them pull up very easily. You could set up recurring orders. Every Friday at 5 you want a pizza, whatever it is. And we see a day when all commerce will be done through your Drone Deck app. We connect you to your vendors, and they know what you want. They know what the temperature needs to be, and it's all right there. In fact, just to that point, reverse logistics in the U.S. is a $1 trillion market, the returns industry. I just saw where a lot of retailers are going to start charging for returns because people order like 3 sizes of something and keep the one they want, send the other ones back. But what if you wanted to return something? You could hit your return icon on your Drone Deck app, populate your last 12 purchases. You pick the item you want to send back. It alerts Amazon. It dispatches UPS. You drop that item into your Drone Deck cargo area. You don't have to print a label. You don't have to find the receipt. The item gets picked up and goes back seamlessly, and you just get your credit. You don't have to go to Kohl's or go to the UPS store or any of those things. So we're just trying to make life very easy. We're a spoiled consumer, right? Everybody wants everything faster, cheaper now. And, we're trying to cut down on steps, carbon neutral by 2050, taking vehicles off the road. We're bridging the labor gap. Today in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is a middle market city in Indiana, UPS will deliver to 8,000 more unique locations than they did just a year and a half ago in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And that's because people are outsourced in all these different metrics that have entered into our world today. So then you enter with a big labor shortage, right? And the only way you bridge the labor gap is through autonomy. So, here's Drone Deck. So we're just in the right place at the right time. I always say Drone Deck, social distancing included. You don't have to interact if you don't want to. You can have that item in your Drone Deck. We even have a UV protector in there.
I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
That's so brilliant. It's just like flashed and like killed all the germs.
That's right. We even had that in our IP before coronavirus, just by some dumb luck. Can you believe
Oh
that?
my goodness gracious. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Speaking of, kind of the product and how it's evolved, I know in the video that was like your first generation or your first iteration. You're building second gen units right now, working on a third gen already, kind of in concept. Can you explain the evolution starting with the company's origin story?
Absolutely. Had the idea back in 2014. I've been around the block in business. I've done a lot. And one thing I learned along the way, Dawn, is when one person has an idea, it's like a rule that 10 people have that same idea at the same time. In
Of
fact, like
course.
the telephone back when, what, 150 years ago or whenever that was, 10 people throughout the world had that idea and nobody could even communicate. So it's just weird. I've lost out on a couple of patents just, to some big companies that I just got beat by a very short period of time. So when I had this idea, I said to myself, this is a race. I better get on this So I literally got a hold of my patent attorney. Within 1 week, we filed the patents, and it turns out that we beat Amazon by just 4 days, beat the
Wow.
U.S. Postal Service by 2 weeks, and others by less than a month. So we did win the race, or I wouldn't be able to be here talking to you today. So I'm really grateful about that. But if you look at the slide here, the top left there is actually the picture we put in our schematics for our first patent filing. And then you can see going across the top, we built some ergonomic, plastic units just to play around and see what this could work like and what we needed to do. And then across the top, you see a unit in use in the field there. Then on the bottom, it really starts taking shape of Dronedek. That's a commercial unit on the left. Then we just recently went through an industrial design exercise. We want to always be raising the bar on aesthetics, ergonomics, reliability, engineering, all those things, right? You can never settle. So, if we say that, when the first cell phones came out, it was the bag phone, right? And now
Yeah.
you're at iPhone 14. So, we're kind of in the bag phone phase of what we're doing, but we want to get to iPhone 14. And so I think you can see a big effort there. We have a great investor community, nearly 5,000 investors. As we iterated on this, we put designs out to our investor community and let them chime in and vote on what they like. So we're really proud that everybody's had a say in what, where we're going and how we're getting there.
Well, Dan, like to your point, great minds think alike, but the fact that you've been able to file successfully 111 plus, IP claims, you first out of the gate, that's super cool, and so many milestones along the way. Let's talk a little bit about that. This is your kind of evolution of the product, but so many milestones. Let's walk us through some of these.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn. It's an exciting journey. It's changed my life, frankly. I came up with the idea in 2014. I would say the first milestone was successfully getting the issuance of the U.S. utility patent that beat Amazon by 4 days. It's funny. I waited 3 years for that to issue, and one day I'd wake up saying, I'm so excited I'm going to get this revolutionary new patent that's going to change the world. Then the next day I'd wake up and I'd say, hey, hold on, what are the odds of, Dan O'Toole, me in Indiana beating all these big guys, right? So it was kind of a roller coaster for those
I
three
bet.
years. And
Three years. What a
yeah,
what a wait.
3 years, it's a long wait. And, during that time, what do, right? Do you throw good money after bad? Do you continue to iterate? Do you hold back? And so I did it, I did kind of a cautious continuation. I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But then when the patent issued, it was a major milestone. And so
Yeah.
for that first 6.5 years, 2014 through 2020 and a half, I put all the money in myself, about $750,000. I
Wow.
went through several iterations, trade shows, IP, all the things you do. And then I was at the end of the day there, I had 25 engineers working every day over in India. I was really laboring. It was very expensive, all the things I was doing. And I said to my cell phone, man, I could sure use some help. And just in that moment, a really good friend of mine came to me and said, hey, really want to invest in Dronedek. And I said, well, for the last 6.5 years, I haven't asked one person to put one. He goes, I know. And I said, well, I'm not soliciting you. He goes, I'm soliciting you. So that was a major milestone. My first investor, Dave Schwind. Dave, if you're out there, I love you, man. Put $200,000 in, came in at a $58 million valuation. Soon thereafter, a small VC firm, Centerpoint Capital, put 200,000 in at a $92 million valuation, and then we commenced a crowdfunding campaign. All the time, we're gaining more IP. A second patent issued. We have 5 more patents pending right now. We just rolled out our IP through PCT, which is the way you extend U.S. patents to the world, to 25 countries. So it's quite expensive. But if you're really building something that's going to change the market, you want to protect it wherever you can be. So that's what we've done. So went
Wow.
on to we did the first crowdfunding, Dawn, did that on WeFunder last year. It was a very successful campaign. Started a valuation of 123 million, concluded at a valuation of 223 million, have nearly 5,000 investors. We earned the designation of being the highest pre-revenue valuation company to ever successfully crowdfunding in the history of crowdfunding. So that was
Wow.
it's a big get for us. Really proud of that, and that's because of all our investors that saw what we're offering and they came in. So fast forward to now, in the last 2.5 years, we've raised about $8.5 million. We just commenced a new crowdfunding campaign on startengine.com/Dronedek, and we're getting ready to kick off a Reg D offering that's going to be on cable and satellite TV. It's actually starting very soon. It's called America's Next Investment. So if you guys see it out there on your guide, I invite you to check it out.
So what? No Shark Tank? I'm kidding. Hey Dan, I noticed like on this slide here, you've got things like Flytrex, you've got UPS, you've got Oracle, you've got all of these like DroneUp, Uber Eats is someone we've mentioned before. Part of your journey, right? Like besides obviously all the doing, the patent filing, the engineers slogging away, various iterations, investors coming to you, quite frankly, you are out there doing things. And I want to talk not about all of them because we don't have enough time,
Sure.
but I want to focus on the Indiana pilot program because I think it was really significant. And I believe we have a really cool video to roll on that.
If that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So this is we were very fortunate to get the U.S. Postal Service to work with us on delivering this pilot program we did in Lawrence, Indiana. We're based out of Lawrence. It's a suburb of Indianapolis. For the first time in history, right here you can see the U.S. Postal Service delivering to a Dronedek, and we think that's a Smithsonian-worthy moment. We're actually in talks with the Smithsonian to donate that unit right now.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and the mailman that he's the guy right there. He delivered. We had multiple units set up in Lawrence, and for 2 weeks we ran a pilot with the USPS just to prove out the fact that we could interact conventionally with the U.S. Postal Service while doing other autonomous deliveries, and it went off seamlessly. It was a great pilot. Really excited about how it turned out. We had the mayor there, and we cut a ribbon, and we did all the hoopla that you'd want to see with a brand new technology. So, what can I say, Dawn?
Well, I think, like you said earlier, a picture paints 1,000 words. I mean, I think that just said a lot. I think the fact that people are coming to you and throwing money at you says a lot. All the IP you've gotten, but what does the future of logistics look like with Dronedek? I mean, we've seen the videos, but and we've seen where we are today, right? So what does that future look like?
The future is bright. Dronedek really has the ability to be configured in any manner it needs to be to get something to you. So if you live in a high-rise building, it could be on a balcony, and we could deliver your pizza, on your 25th floor of your Manhattan penthouse, right? If you are driving a tank in a battlefield, if you're on a boat, RV, camper, if you're a tradesman at a work site and you run out of something, you need roller covers. If you're a painter, you can order remotely. Those items will be delivered to your commercial vehicle and notify you, so you don't have to leave the job site. And multifamily, commercial, we've got multiple size units for commercial use. We also have a residential unit. So really all of our IP covers all these configurations. We try to really be as broad as you can. That's what you want to do when you get patents. So we're very broad. A Dronedek could be a roof hatch in a commercial building or a residential home. So we're really thinking outside the box on a lot of different things. We want to be wherever you are.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. We want to be, Dawn, we want to be wherever you are. We want to bring value. Okay, we want you to know when you have it, what you have. We want you to feel safe, that it's secure. The chain of custody is everything. If you're rushing home to get your food and it beats you by 15 minutes, there's always that doubt in your mind. What happened to your food for 15 minutes? Did a spider crawl in it? Did somebody come by and sabotage it? Did the pets get, who knows, right? We're peace of mind. That's Dronedek. And it's very reasonable. We actually have scenarios where you can actually be cost neutral, or maybe even make income off of having a Dronedek through a lot of the opportunities that we're exploring right now. So what if you could have all these things for little or no money, or maybe you're getting paid to have a drone deck. Why wouldn't everybody have a drone deck, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So walk us through then kind of this future. I mean, you have it on the slide here, but like, tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah. So, there's just so many things here. And I'm having a hard time kind of seeing that it's a little small for me. So if you want to ask me specifically
Yeah,
about
yeah,
anything.
absolutely. It talks about, different partnership focuses and ecosystem integrations kind of in the future, and then also, the capital raises that you're going to undergo.
Sure,
And we'll
sure. So
we'll just talk about the partnership focus here, and then we have, I think, some other slides we can get into the capital raise.
perfect. Appreciate that. Sorry about that, guys. So,
Oh, it's okay.
yeah, partnerships are really everything. You can set 100 drone decks out there, but you're going to need some partners at some point, right? Somebody has to be delivering. So, we're really excited about just the ecosystem and the desire by companies to want to deal with us. I think, when we first started out, the notion of dropping things on the ground or landing and dropping them was a lot more compelling to the big drone guys than having to go the extra step to deliver to a drone deck. And now I think the market is telling them, hey, we're not going to accept that. Back in 1858, there was a mailbox invented for a reason. It's because you can't just have all this stuff on the ground. So fast forward today, no more today than in 1858 can you drop high valued items, food, beverage, pharmaceuticals, cannabis, whatever it is on the ground, right? So drone deck. As far as partnerships, we're working with the Helium Network, the People's Network. They have crypto mining. They're rolling out broadband and delivering that. They've identified drone deck as a great use case for that. Being everywhere, great connectivity. So that's an opportunity for the subscribers to actually derive income and offset their cost for a drone deck, or even maybe make in excess of what it's costing them. So that could be awesome. We're coming out with a credit card. We haven't announced this at all yet, but we're going to be coming out with a new credit card. All of your purchases can go on. It'll be an actual Visa or MasterCard, and we're in the loop on that. So you can derive.
You heard it first here,
That's
everybody.
right.
The
That's right.
Drone Deck MasterCard. I love it.
That's right. That's right. So, and how you only earn points or mileage, right? Now you can earn drone deck points. So this can all go toward offsetting your costs, getting you discount with retailers and shippers that are accessing our platform. So there's a whole ecosystem being developed behind the scenes right now. And yeah, you heard it here first. So
You
really
did.
excited
We
about
did.
that.
So cool. And you mentioned earlier the capital raise. I want to just kind of hit this slide, and
Sure.
then I really want to focus after that on why now? Like, why are you raising more funds now? So
Right.
let's go over this one, but not too great in detail because I think we covered this a little bit already. But just maybe some of the emphasis points, and then we'll talk about today and what's going on now.
Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. So yeah, right now we have a raise going on Start Engine. We're looking to raise up to $5 million on that crowdfund. We also have America's Next Investment, the infomercial I was talking about a little bit earlier, and that's running in parallel. And so two lanes of capital raise, and we fit the Reg D on the America's Next Investment is for accredited investors, those that make 200,000 or more in the last 2 years or have $1 million in assets, and then unaccredited are able to go on the crowdfunding. So we're running them in parallel so we can help guide investors to the right platform, and so nobody's left out. But great question about what we're using the capital for.
Yeah,
One
we're
thing
like, why now? Like, what,
yeah, why now?
Yeah.
Hey, and that's a great question because we've been asked that, and it's really important that people know the future is today. It's not tomorrow. It's all based on what you do today, and we want to keep iterating, developing, doing everything we do. We don't want to have any hands tied behind our back. We want to be out there acquiring great talent, great engineering, continued IP, just adding production units, piloting, trade shows, travel, partnership, all these different things. Every aspect of running a business, we're doing that. And we've got a great, fully engaged and just impassioned team. In fact, I have a little show called The Dan Show that I do to keep our investors updated. And we just filmed part of that today and actually went through and introduced our whole team and everybody got to talk. So that's something to look for if you guys want to know more intimate details about how we operate and who we are. But that's a great question. I want people to know that we're not just raising money for the sake of raising it. We're spending a lot of money and we need to keep runway. We don't want to have to ever ratchet down on what we're trying to do because we're worried about capital. So we're very well funded. I will say that we spend money very meticulously. We don't have suites at any professional sports teams or do anything like that. We spend every dollar like it's our last, and I think that's just a great culture. I'm just proud of what we've done, the development we've gotten for what we've spent, and where we are going, and how bright the future looks with all these major opportunities. I do also want to say we're raising this capital now, but our eye is on the prize of going public. And that's really where we're guided toward. And I think we have a good shot of being a publicly traded company in the middle to the end of 2023. So anybody that would invest now, that's our goal and desire. And we've engaged an investment banker, and we've got some great conversations going. That's quite exciting.
That's super exciting, Dan. I saw on one of the previous slides you said you even have your ticker name picked out.
We do. We've reserved a ticker, DDEK, DDEK.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right.
We're serious. We're serious.
All right, ringing that bell, I hope, and like you said, by mid-2023 latest. And, for the investors, this is all about disruptive savings. I mean, when you talk about the need out there from a market standpoint, I saw some of those crazy numbers on the last slide, trillions of dollars in retail sales and whatnot. And certainly, I think COVID has made really that whole enterprise mushroom, if you will, because people they've just now gotten used to having things delivered to their house. It's just the way everybody kind of wants to do business. And so tell us a little about the savings, and again, why this is such a great investment in Dronedek.
Sure. Well, thanks. If you look at this slide here, you can see the trajectory. We kind of internally call it the Amazon economy, and you can just see in the last couple of years, Amazon has leapfrogged UPS, DHL, FedEx, and they've tripled, their volume. And then you see the U.S. Postal Service is going to do over just a huge amount of parcels. So that's huge. 91% of all purchases are 5 pounds or less, which really makes them perfect for autonomous delivery. Every day in the U.S., there's over 100 million items purchased online. Those items are traditionally, when they're delivered conventionally, around $2 average. When you deliver those same items autonomously to a Dronedek, that number drops to $1. So you're saving 50%. Every 11 days, that's a $1 billion savings to the shipping economy. So it's quite disruptive. Just financially, it's hugely disruptive. So, and that's obviously a big compelling point in any kind of developing new technology. We're rolling out what we call Mailbox as a service. You're familiar with SaaS companies, software as a service. We're Mailbox as a service. It's a brand new category. We think that if you're going to play the autonomous space, there's only one way to play it, and that is Dronedek. We're that little piece of real estate that is truly the gateway to every home and business, not just here, but throughout the world. So, and we always say kind of like the drones, the robots, those guys are, no offense to anyone, but they're more the commodity. They're pretty much ubiquitous. They're everywhere, and there's not much distinguishment between them. But when you get to Dronedek, we own that gateway. We see a day when every shipment either starts or it ends at a Dronedek. And so if you want to play this space, we think it's the only way to go.
Wow. Well, and all the different configurations, the future iterations, everything you're doing, Dan, it's incredible. I can't wait to keep watching this journey as Dronedek takes us into the future of logistics. So how do people plug in, right? How do they tap into either your fundraising or other efforts?
Thanks. It's really important, and I appreciate you asking that, Dawn. We're on startengine.com/Dronedek. So if you go there, you could get on the raise right there. You can reach me at dan@dronedek.com if you want to email me. We also are on ANI, America's Next Investment on Cable, and satellite television right now. If you go to your guide and type in Dronedek, you'll see that whatever programming is coming up. And go to our website, dronedek.com. We've got everything there as well. But we'd love to have everyone. When you invest in Dronedek, you're a co-owner. You're right here with me. And I talk to our investors every single day. I put my number out there, 317-694-7520. I welcome calls. I want to hear the good, bad, and the ugly. If I have the audacity to ask you to put your hard-earned money into Dronedek and me, I damn well ought to be there on the other end of the phone to take a call, question, or a comment, right? That's what we do.
That's awesome. And Dan, any other closing comments before we dial off?
No, I'd just like to say, really appreciate the opportunity, and for all of you that listened and watched today, thanks for your time. I hope you'll consider Dronedek, and even if you don't invest with us, I appreciate the opportunity. So Dawn, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody keep your eyes on Dronedek. They are taking us into the future of logistics. So everybody, we are done. We are out here.